Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm just looking to have some fun in the Retro Cup. I'm bringing out one of the rarest Open Great League Pokemon, and that is a Great League eligible Ceruledge. And I'm pairing it up with another pretty rare Pokemon in Dragapult. And against all odds, this duo, I was able to go on an 8-2 run, climbing back over 3,200 ELO. Now for Dragapult, you can run Astonish or Dragon Tail. I chose to run Dragon Tail as it was my safe switch, attempting to lure out potential Dunsparce. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and take a look at this very spicy team absolutely feasting on the Retro Cup meta. Hopping into the first match, picked up a negative lead Diggersby into Jumpluff. I farm up 7, switch into the Dragapult, and attempt a catch. And the catch is successful as we catch the Energy Ball. In comes Oranguru. Oranguru, this is a good time to be running Dragon Tail instead of Astonish, as Astonish, of course, would be resisted. I'm able to land the Breaking Swipe. That combined with the Dragon Tails does quite a lot of damage. They do exit with the Trailblaze loaded, but that's a move that I can pretty comfortably survive. And now I can look to overfarm quite significantly with the Diggersby. I have gotten them pretty low, so a Fire Punch will be enough to secure the knockout. In comes Annihilate, and they're about to have a very bad day. Scorching Sands is shielded. In comes Ceruledge, and Ceruledge is going to be shielding everything because it is very, very glassy. Rage Fist will, of course, get their guaranteed attack boost. Here, I'm going to throw 2 Incinerates to try and maximize the amount of residual energy. Just in case they do end up no shielding, they will actually commit the shield, but these are boosted Incinerates. Annihilate is not bulky. They go for another Rage Fist. It's into the Jumpluff, and Jumpluff is about to get cooked. Put that Jumpluff right on the grill. Absolutely charbroiled. Ceruledge gets the farm down, and that's a good game. Great lead in the next match. Diggersby versus Clodsire. Opponent save switches into Golisopod, and this is actually a Shadow Claw Golisopod. Most I've been seeing as of late have been on Fury Cutter. If it was Fury Cutter, then I could have potentially sent in either of my backmons, but with Shadow Claw, I have 2 ghosts back there. I can't afford to switch just yet, so I'm going to stay in, take the liquidation, and fire off a second Fire Punch. This Fire Punch is going to do some pretty nice damage. I'm going to look to farm up and go for a catch. Great patience by my opponent waiting the turn, but I know I can tank any one move. They go for the liquidation. That still does a ton of damage as Dragapult is very, very frail. In comes the Clodsire. I'm trying to get to the Shadow Ball, but I will get outpaced. That is unfortunate. They're going to make it to the Sludge Bomb, and that will KO. The switch timers are misaligned. I'm expecting them to switch instantly, so I'm actually going to bring in the Ceruledge, and it works! They blind switch out expecting the Diggersby, but it's not going to be the Diggersby. Instead, it's the Ceruledge, and now I'm up energy. I go for the Flame Charge. Opponent is going to commit the shield, and they're going to be lowering my attack right back to 0 with a Bubble Beam. But Bubble Beam is okay, as I'm double resisting these bug bites. Overfarming quite a bit, but I accidentally overfarm a bit too much, and now my attack is actually going to be dropped down to -1. So I'm going to look to fire off a Shadow Ball and try and farm down. The Shadow Ball is going to land. They're now forced to switch into the Clodsire, and now I can get my attack back to normal with the Flame Charge. Flame Charge is going to connect. Opponent successfully calling that, but this Ceruledge is just absolutely unrelenting, committing the shield on the Sludge Bomb, making it to another Flame Charge. They're going to be able to eventually KO the Ceruledge, but there's no way to get rid of the Diggersby. They're forced to throw one end of move to avoid taking that Incinerate damage, but now I can bring in the Diggersby. They have to try for the catch, so I just keep farming. In comes Araquanid, we farm it down, and this will be game over as I can connect with a Scorching Sands. Fire Punch may have been enough, but Scorching Sands guarantees it, and we're able to take the win. Terrible lead Diggersby into Superior. I'm going to throw one quick attack and then switch into the Dragapult. They're staying and taking a ton of damage to do so, and now out comes Licky Licky. Baiting out a normal type, this is great. I'm trying to bait out the rollout users here. I do get a debuff from the Breaking Swipe, which is very nice, and I'm firing off another Breaking Swipe. The combination of Breaking Swipe plus Dragon Tail really does inflict some serious damage onto the normals. I'm going to respect the potential Shadow Ball, and I get baited. No, that is terrible. They can now outpace and force my final shield. But if they full send, which they do, I can actually farm down, win switch, but they make a beautiful play. Aggressive switch back into the Superior, sniping down all my energy with a Frenzy Plant. But In doing so, they have now switch locked Superior, and it's Ceruledge's time to shine. Ceruledge is going to tank the Aerial Ace, get the farm down, denying Superior's remaining energy. In the back is going to be Clodsire, and now I get to unleash the damage. Flame Charge from Ceruledge does get shielded. Trainer, no. Now this is a boosted Shadow Ball. Look at this damage. Shadow Ball connects. Switch into the Diggersby. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. We move to the next game. This is a terrible lead leading into Dragonite. The safe switch into the Dragapult, but the Shadow Dragonite, it's gotta be a very high rank, tanks the Dragon Tail on 1 HP, winning switch. They actually don't blind throw the Dragon Claw there, so they end up losing that energy as I am able to successfully snipe down with a quick attack. Had they just been clicking the Dragon Claw, then they would have got that move off guaranteed. Now, I'm forced to have a negative matchup here, Diggersby versus Cresselia. I do get a Scorching Sands debuff. I'm going to look to switch into the Ceruledge. In the back is a Rangaroo, and that is a Pokemon that I need to bait out if I'm going to have success with Ceruledge. Ceruledge is very, very glassy. As we've seen from those earlier battles, it has some pretty wild sweeping potential, but its biggest issue is its lack of bulk, and I'm just getting melted by these confusions. I commit the shield to fire off the Flame Charge, but my opponent can shield, and there's just no way that I can win this game now, as Diggersby is going to get hit with energy from the Oranguru, and they still have, unfortunately, just a Cresselia that is far too healthy. I need to fire off the Scorching Sands to pick up the knockout, but at this point, the moment I see myself getting outpaced by the Cresselia, I can safely resign, and they're at the move, and I can't even make a Scorching Sands plus a Fire Punch here. There's just no hope, so I'm not going to waste anyone's time. I will resign the match. We're now 3-1 in the set, looking for the 4-1, and that's not the lead we were hoping for. Diggersby into Talonflame. I throw 2 quick attacks, safe switch to the Dragapult, and the opponent responds with a Dragon Tail Flygon, the battle of the dragons. But with my energy advantage, I can force an early shield from my opponent. They're going to get the full farm down, but I have Diggersby. The entire reason I brought Diggersby onto the team was I wanted something monstrously bulky, because Dragapult is not taking a hit and Ceruledge is not taking a hit either. Here I'm going to try and overfarm as much as I can with the Diggersby, throwing at the last possible time before they make their next move. When they bring in the Talonflame, I'm going to send in Ceruledge, throwing 1 quick attack and a switch, and now we've got a game. Ceruledge, if I go for the Shadow Ball, I will get outpaced, so I have to go for the Flame Charge. If my opponent calls that I'm Flame Charging here, I'm in a lot of trouble, but they end up shielding, and now I'm in the driver's seat. They're 2 away, I'm 2 away. It's going to be another charge attack priority tie, and Ceruledge is winning that by a mile. I'm now +2 on attack. They get KO'd. In the back is a Chestnut, and look at the Incinerates. Absolutely melted. Chestnut, Frenzy Plant picks up the KO, but I have a ton of energy loaded on the Diggersby from earlier. So Diggersby, thanks to a couple quick attacks and a Fire Punch, makes quick work of the Chestnut, and we're able to clutch the 4-1 set. We pick up a bad lead in set number 2, leading into Superior. Opponent is going to respond to the Dragapult safe switch with a Shadow Wall Rain, and things are not going well. Oh my goodness. I'm farming up, and I'm going for the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe does a ton of damage from Dragapult. They let it go. I can win switch. Dragapult has a monster attack stat. You cannot be disrespecting it with a no shield. In comes Feraligatr. I barely tank the Shadow Claw to make it to that Breaking Swipe. That just does so much damage. Opponent switches out, saving energy, bringing in Superior. And hello, Superior. In comes Ceruledge. Ceruledge going to try and commit to a farm down, but it's going to be tough. They're firing off another move. It is going to be just an Aerial Ace. This is going to be close. Can I survive the Vine Whips? The answer is yes. 1 HP on the Ceruledge. And now I get to fire off the Flame Charge. That's going to be shielded up. Feraligatr, all the energy in the world, but it needs 3 Hydro Cannons if it's going to win this game, and it can't get there because they have no fast move pressure. They're going to CMP tie as I make the back-to-back, but they're just not at the 3 Hydro Cannons needed. I can commit the final shield, go for the Fire Punch. Fire Punch, of course, will grab the final shield, but they just don't have the energy needed to cap tie me on the second. So Fire Punch KOs Feraligatr, and I should have been triple hard countered in that game, but Dragapult flipping switch sets us up for success. Great lead in the next match. Diggersby into Dunsparce. Dunsparce staying in what is a truly terrible matchup, and I'm going to be firing off this Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands is going to connect. We get an attack drop. I've gotten really lucky with the Scorching Sands debuffs today. There's a Talonflame save switch, a little bit of lag as I send in the Dragapult to answer it. Dragapult is going to commit the shield as they always go for the fly here. Fly would KO. I can throw 3 and then go for the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe will be enough to pick up the knockout. We've seen how hard any charge attack from this Pokemon can hit. They're going to throw right away. If they try to throw in good timing, then I would outpace. So this is the correct play from my opponent. I'm going to get a pretty nice farm down, and I leave with a ton of energy. If I see the normal typing, I have to spam tap the Breaking Swipe. If I see something else, then I can go for the Shadow Ball, and they don't bring it in. Instead, they bring in Toxapex, and Toxapex is going to be hit with a Shadow Ball, and that does some significant damage. I'm going to look to bank a ton of energy here, bring in the Diggersby, and win the charge attack priority tie here, denying their energy unless they give up the final shield. They're forced to do just that. Brian will get to connect, but that's just not a consequential amount of damage. I'm farming up. Opponent is going to bank energy and send in the Dunsparce, but Dunsparce can throw all the drill runs that they want. Diggersby is not in a range where 2 drill runs will KO, and that's a big problem for my opponent. So my play here is simple. Scorching Sands, tank 2 drill runs, attempt a farm down to force their energy, and once they waste all their energy, there's just no way for me to lose the game. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Stay in, force their energy, and now that their energy dry, I can bring in Ceruledge. And Brine does so little from Toxapex that I actually am fine here. This is basically an impossibility. Ceruledge tanking a super effective move, but it does barely hanging on, tanking that Brine, shadow balling the Toxapex, and the opponent will concede the match. We move to the next match. Diggersby into Medicham. All Medicham in this cup are on Psycho Cut. I'm going to save switch into the Dragapult. Dragapult is going to take a ton of damage from Ice Punch though. Ice Punch is very fast. Ice Punch is going to connect. There's a switch out into a Rangaroo, and I'm very happy to bait this out. I need to bait this out so that way Ceruledge will have a chance in back. A Rangaroo doesn't get a ton of farm. I can bring in the Diggersby, and I'm more than happy to absorb a super effective Trailblaze, because of course a Rangaroo does not hit very hard. So Trailblaze is going to land. I can farm up with the Diggersby, firing off the Scorching Sands right before the opponent is able to make a boosted Brutal Swing. So Scorching Sands will be enough to pick up the knockout. Medicham answered with the Ceruledge. Medicham, if they're on Psycho Cut, should be on Ice Punch, Dynamic Punch. So I should wall them. However, the Psycho Cuts will add up, and they're shielding. If they're shielding, maybe they're actually on Psychic, so I will actually respect it with a shield, but they're not. That's going to be the Ice Punch. In the back is Charge-a-Bug. Oh no. And they're just core broken by the Ceruledge. Flame Charge is going to be shielded, and look at the Incinerates go. I do decide to shield here. My opponent is 1 off an X-Scissor, but they're 2 off the Discharge, so I'm just going to switch now into the Diggersby, and I can pick up the knockout with the Fire Punch. I'm very close to a move on the Ceruledge. I'm only 1 away. I make the Fire Punch. Opponent is going to go for the CMP tie. Now the question will be, can they make it to a move? I'm going to resist it. Will it KO? They make a move. Can I hang on here? Dynamic Punch, double resisted, and Ceruledge barely tanks it. And we now move to 3-0 in this set. We move to the next match. Great lead. Diggersby into Dunsparce. Opponent is going to save switch into Samurott. And here, honestly, I froze. I thought it was for Alligator, so I thought I had to stay in. But by the time I realized it was Samurott, I had already stayed in for too long. Since it's Samurott with Fury Cutter, I could have brought in the Dragapult, as Dragapult, of course, is going to be heavily resisting those bug moves. But instead, I stayed in, and I took a lot of damage on the Diggersby, and that could be problematic later. Breaking Swipe will be able to pick up the knockout. In comes Dunsparce. I'm going to wait till the last possible second to Breaking Swipe, because in case they get a debuff, I don't want them to get any extra farm. So the Breaking Swipe is going to connect, and now, since the switch timers are misaligned, I have to fully wait out the clock. So I can bring in the Diggersby. In the back is Shadow Dragonite, and this is just over. I needed to save the Dragapult. This is a team that is pretty soft to Dragon. I do actually get an attack drop there. Opponent is going to play to the CMP tie, but this is going to be very difficult. I'm going to be firing off the Scorching Sands at the Dragonite. Opponent is going to actually double shield. They get double debuffed, and even so, these double debuffed Dragon Breaths do not look it. Here my opponent is going to go for a combo play with the Dunsparce, and I'm going to try and click the move, but realistically a Flame Charge isn't KOing there, so even though the move didn't register despite me tapping it, it's not going to matter. Unfortunately, once the Dragapult was baited out, Dragonite was just too good. Hopping into the final match, leading Diggersby into the Gastrodon. So far, I've gotten an insane amount of Scorching Sands debuffs today. I don't know if it's just blind luck or what, but we will take it, and there's another one too. What is happening? I feel like I never get Scorching Sands debuffs, and now I just can't stop getting them today. Oh my goodness. Since they're debuffed, I can overfarm all the way till right before their second Earth Power, and not worried about a Body Slam whatsoever, and the Scorching Sands will deliver a knockout. So down goes the Gastrodon. Opponent is now going to bring in Arctibax. For Arctibax, I'm going to look to pressure a shield with the Scorching Sands, and then look to pivot out. The Scorching's actually no shielded. In comes the Dragapult, and look at the damage. Dragapult, oh my goodness, these Dragon Tails add up so significantly. Opponent in the back, they have Cresselia, and this is where it all goes wrong, because Cresselia is about to get completely walled by Ceruledge. Opponent is farming up a ton with the Cresselia. I make it to another Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe's not going to do a lot, but honestly, it doesn't have to, as I have Ceruledge to completely wall off Cresselia's energy. Moonblast picks up the KO. In comes the Ceruledge, and for one final time, the opponent will resign the match. All in all, I would absolutely classify this as a team for fun, not a team for climbing, even though I did go back-to-back 4-1s with the team. It's a team that has a great many flaws, but sometimes, especially towards the end of a rotation, you just kind of want to have some fun. Play some Go Battle League, not worried too much about the consequences, and that's exactly the thought pattern that caused this team to be created. Ceruledge is a Pokemon that I wish it was easier for more people to get in the Great League. Currently, the only way that's possible is via a research, I believe, through the Google Play Store. So currently, only Android trainers have access to it, and even so, I don't know if that's a permanent research or if it is just one that was a limited time. But overall, I did have a ton of fun with the team, and man, Ceruledge just kept catching people off guard. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.